Morning, Wednesday the 21st of July. It's about 20 past 6 in the morning. I have to say, if you're not experiencing it at the moment, being up at this time in the morning, it is worth it, because it's just such a really nice feeling to just have really fresh air is what I'd call it. Obviously it's not cool, but the temperature right now is way more bearable than what it's been getting. Well, not only later in the day, but I'm also finding like a lot of people late at night or in the middle of the night as well. That constant like waking up and Gordon Bennett's sweating, dripping. But no, it's lovely, really refreshing. And I was thinking to myself, if it wasn't so hot at the moment, and then say in the UK we had a temperature like we have at the moment, that's starting at, I don't know what they were saying, 18, 19, whatever in the morning, then any other time I'd be like, oh, this is nice to have this sort of heat in the middle of the day. But because I'm comparing it to how hot and warm it's been getting, currently at this time of morning, this temperature is actually feels cool in comparison. It's got me thinking about, what do you measure things against? What do you measure yourself against? I was sort of thinking that there's one of the learners on one of the courses I'm delivering at the moment on coaching, and I haven't seen her for a number of years, to be fair, but I recognised her. And did sort of remember her anyway. At one point she was making a few jokes about things, and I think I noticed that sometimes people can make jokes about stuff, but perhaps they haven't quite got the knack of going it right on point. And a couple of times, I think a few people just give this look of, did you really say that? And on the face of it, there was a sense of, perhaps she's not quite aware, just needs to just be a bit mindful of the comments she makes, or how she puts things across. And then a bit later on, at some point, this person actually was the only person in the room to put themselves forward to actually practice, which I thought, really took some sort of bravery. And then at some point they sort of asked me about, have I noticed how far they've come in their last, and in fact, it was a few years, and I said, actually, now you're asking, yeah, I have. I could really see their level of maturity, the way they were engaging, the sorts of questions they were asking about the learning, and so when I looked at it like that, in that bigger picture, yeah, absolutely, you could really see how much they progressed. Now, if I'd been measuring it against what I was just noticing at the time, with a couple of the jokes that weren't quite on point, I might be measuring their development, their learning, their progress slightly differently. But actually, because we were then looking, in retrospect over a number of years, and hearing them sharing what they thought about their own progression and how far they felt they'd progressed and come on, could really see that. And so again, coming back to that, what we measure against because that can also affect how we feel about the outcome. When I did my previous presentation that I was assessed on with my practitioner training, and, I give it some time, but obviously in the big picture of my work, clients, sort of delivering courses and so on, I could only give it so much time. And yes, it went pretty well, and I still put some time and effort into it. Got some good feedback. Got some feedback as well about what I can be mindful of for next time, because I'll have another presentation to do as well next week. Now, if I was measuring that against how I would, want it to be at its best, and how much more time I'd have liked to have researched even more and gone on, over many websites and various other things, I might be thinking that I hadn't really put enough time or energy or effort into it. And actually, if I measure it against how much time I had realistically with all the other stuff I'm doing, all the other commitments I'd got, in that sense, I gave it as much time as I had really, and I passed. Do you know what I mean? There was no sort of you're going to get merit for this, or you're going to get a few extra points and there's going to be a different outcome. It was either somebody would pass. In fact, at this point, it wasn't even really a fail. It was I think unless you're going to be absolutely, awful, you'd pass. But obviously the feedback about your development for the next presentation was then a big part of how they see you engage and progress. So, yeah, again, that sense of, I certainly had to also stop myself from measuring against other people, because there were a number of other people doing their presentations that went before me, and so I was watching them and could have easily been thinking, oh, hang on, what about this, what about that, or could do this, or could do that. But as one of the trainers said, we've all got our own unique style and our own character, our own experiences we bring to things, and that's what makes us who we are. And in fact, there were a couple of things I did that a number of people were like, oh, that's a good idea, we hadn't thought about that, we'll consider that for when we do our next presentation. So that was really important, that I was not comparing and measuring myself against others before I did mine, but just basing my head on what I'd already done, what I needed to cover, what I needed to have, ticked off in terms of competencies. And then I'd be measuring myself against something that was valuable, realistic, and appropriate for me, for myself. That's some perhaps thought about, maybe consider, what are you measuring yourself against? Who are you measuring yourself against? And in terms of the way you're measuring your success or your progress, your development and so forth, is that supporting you at its best? Or is there another way that you need to think about how to measure your movement and your progress, your sense of achievement, success, balance, what all those things even mean to you? Sometimes I think it's important to get clear about what that means as well. So have the rest of a lovely Wednesday. And it's another warm one, definitely. And I shall see you later, guys. Take care. Bye.